Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Matt and this is the fourth episode of creating link shortener tutorial of mine. In this episode, we'll finish styling our form and we'll hook also the validation into it. So hit the like button, subscribe, and the code is under the description of this video. So enjoy it. Now I'm going to add some description at the top, like some title. And also I will center this element on in the middle of the website so it doesn't look so empty. So let's do it. Plus title property. Level 5. Copy. And title comes from the typography component, which we need to import. Typography. This is exported like layout component, so we need to type here title. Typography. Let's save. Now we can see the description. Now let's center the component. Let's go back to the code. And now we need to add align items attribute to center our elements. So we can do it like align items, center, save. Let's see how it looks like. And now you see that the components in the middle of the page. That looks perfect. The very next step would be to implement the validation. So basically that we cannot publish some stupid things into this component. So let's implement it. The very first thing we can do is to define the type of this input as a link. The thing we can do is defining the validation rules for this field, and we can do this by passing the object here. The link is, we need to make it required. Let's set it to true. Message, please paste a correct link with exclamation mark, and type is URL. So now Andy will automatically validate our input as link. So let's try it out. Let's put some stupid things. And as you see, the Andy is displaying some message here. Right, looks good. So now Andy will be displaying this sort of information if we put invalid link into our input field. But instead of that, I would prefer to use some component from Andy. And the right component to do this is alert component. Let's try to hook it. We are going to display the alert component under the form. Let's put it here, alert. We are going to add show icon, message, we please paste correct link, and type will be error. Let's import it. Let's see how it looks like. As you can see, now we have two components. The second one is not hooked into React yet, but we can do it now. Let's do it. So we need to define the function which will do the error handling for us. So let's call it onFinishedFailed. So this function is going to activate the alert when the form fails the validation. So let's hook it. So to define when our website is going to display alert, we are going to use the local state, which will determine the current state of our page, basically. So let's define it. We'll use status, set status equals use state, and we'll have initial state and error state. By default, we'll use initial state. Of course, we need to import use state from React. Let's move it to the top. And now, when our validation fails, we're going to set the status to false, to error. And now, as you can see, this method isn't actually used. We need to pass it down to the form component. So let's do it. Unfinished failed equals unfinished failed. So from now on, if user input will fail our acceptance criteria, we are going to set the state of our application to error. And what we need to do next to define when to display the alert. So let's put the alert inside of the sort of brackets. If status equals error, then we are going to display the alert component. Let's save and let's see how it looks like. And when you press the shorten, we'll display this. But now we have two messages. So we need to get rid of this one. And actually, I would like to use this message inside of this component. So I don't want to have it static. Let's code it. The easiest way to read the status of the form items is to use hooks, which come from the form component from entity. We can do it by defining form. And let's initialize the hook from form, use form. And now we need to pass this element down to form component. Form. And now we can actually use form get error field from link. And now we need to save it somewhere. So let's use the variable error. And let's create a state which will allow us to set custom content. So message set message use state, by default will be empty, and we are going to use it in our unfinished method set message error. So now TypeScript is complaining that error is not actually string, it's an array of strings. So basically it might contain many errors. So we simply need to merge them. So let's use train function and merge them, just merge them without anything. And let's see how it looks like. Let's press shorten. And now we have two the same messages. Oh no, it didn't work. Oh, I forgot to actually hook the message into the alert component. Let's hook it, save, and now let's have a look. Let's press shorten, and now we have exactly the same message, so we can actually get rid of this one. Let's go back to code, and we can do it by passing the no style property into our form item, which wraps the input field. Let's save it and let's have a look. Now the message is gone, so that's basically what we wanted to achieve. And that's it for today. I remind you to hit the like button, subscribe, the code is in the description, and stay tuned for the next episodes.